Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Kat the Christian Baker, back to my original YouTube channel. I know everybody thinks that I went AWOL, that I've just disappeared. I haven't. I'm still here, I promise. It's just been a while. I've been working on another channel, and so yes, but tonight I'm going to bring you what seems to be like a pretty simple meal. I love this. I love this meal, especially the main part of it, the main dish. My grandmother used to make it when she was here. God bless her soul. She's been passed on for quite some time, and I make it maybe twice a year, just because I don't want to make it too much, because I don't want. It was always very special when she was gonna make it, you know. And so it's called Chicken and Biscuits, and it's exactly what it is: chicken on the bottom of a pan with some gravy. Now, I don't know how to do white gravy. She used a white gravy. I'll have to practice and try to do that, but I'm just going to use a regular chicken gravy. Yesterday, I cooked a beautiful, just a chicken, a whole chicken, a bird, and I got a lot of drippings and stock from that, and I took off the fat. And here's the rest of that. So I'm going to make a wonderful gravy. Now I have 2 cans of generic gravy sitting over on the counter. But if you really want a good meal, you try to make everything as from scratch as you can, because that ensures the flavors are going to be in it. So I'm going to have a sweet potato with this meal. I didn't plan on that. I just kind of threw that in a few seconds ago. And some carrots. Usually, you know, me, I'm on a budget, and carrots are pretty much the only thing that I have around at the end of the month, because they're down on the crisper, and if I don't eat healthy, then I kind of forget about them, and I'm like, oh, carrots. So carrots usually take about 25 minutes to a half an hour to cook. So if you've already cooked your chicken, which you should, it's not going to be fresh chicken. You're going to either take chicken leg quarters and boil them, or bake them the day before and pull everything off the bone and have it in a separate bowl or plate, whatever. You're going to have your breast meat, and you're going to have your white meat and your dark meat. So whichever you prefer. I didn't like dark meat when I was growing up, because things that I ate with the dark meat were very fatty, but as I've gotten older, I've liked dark meat because it's more flavorful. So yeah, what I'm going to do is cut up my carrots right now, get that on the stove cooking, and then I'm going to start making my gravy. And like I said, if you have like a homemade biscuit recipe, you can use that, but I'm going to use old Bisquick, and that is the only reason I use Bisquick. Between that and the shortcake biscuits, they're really good. So instead of taking my carrots and cutting them over the garbage, because I always miss and end up picking them off the floor, you just take a regular shopping bag and put it on the counter. That way, you just take everything, fold it in, and put it in the garbage at the end. It's just such an easy cleanup. So I'm going to bring you all the way down here. And so yeah, I didn't plan on having an almost all orange meal. Now some people wash these before they do this, but I feel like as long as you're peeling the outside. Now some people don't peel the outside because you hear that the nutrients are more on the outside, but I don't know. For me, that's what my family's always done. That's what my grandmother's always done. She was a big influence in my life. And so yeah, I just kind of follow her example. I wish that I paid more attention when I was younger, though. When you're in your 20s, your early 20s, you're not exactly paying attention to everything grandma is cooking. You're paying attention to yourself. You're in your 20s, depending on what kind of family you're brought up in. You're kind of just all about you. But I wish that I listened a lot more. And but I did have some wonderful teachings on my grandmother. Our finger hot for like 1 or 2 knives, but I've had them for a long time now, maybe 7 years, and it's time to get a new set. So now that I've done that, like I said, Wrap it all up, you're done. That is so easy, right? And who doesn't have those grocery bags around? So I'm gonna take this cutting board. Ready. If I had a longer knife, I'd be able to just go through this so easy. Everything is in the dishwasher. With this, you're gonna put, if you just don't know how to cook, if you're a beginner, if you're younger, you're just gonna put whatever you want. Some people make savory carrots, some people make sweet carrots. Because I plan on making something sweet later or tomorrow, I'm gonna make these savory. And they say that carrots are good for your eyes too, so that's a nice thing. The reason why I made a bird yesterday, a whole chicken like a Purdue oven stuffer, was because I wanted some deli meat. And it's like $9.99 a pound, and I figured I will get a whole lot more for my buck if I just buy a bird. And the bird was about, chicken was about $6, $7, no more than $6.50. And I got like 2 huge chicken breasts, a lot of dark meat, and all this stuff. So it was a lot. It turned out better than to just buy sliced deli meat. I think better for you, and that way you can flavor your own meat. So take a break, relax, and so now we're just gonna work on. I already pulled the chicken off the chicken. I already pulled all the meat off the chicken. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna layer the bottom of the pan with chicken. Now again, if you want to do all breast, you can just buy the boneless, skinless, and boil it over the stove. You can bake it, and that way if you bake it, you can get the drippings from that for the gravy. I don't like cutting boards. I'm just going to take it all apart and throw it in there. Now, it's already been seasoned from the bird yesterday that I've cooked. So I don't think that it really needs all that much seasoning. Salt, pepper, probably. But just make sure that if you salt your gravy very well, which you should, don't salt the chicken as well, because the gravy is going to cover the chicken. Now, I don't know how to make a white gravy. My grandmother made a white gravy with this. I'm sure it's pretty simple. But it's something that I'll have to learn how to do. I'm not sure if it's better or not, but it was so good. It was always a pleasure to go over my grandmother's house. And I miss the days where somebody else was cooking and not me. I really do. I've been on my own for quite a while, and I'm always the one having to create all the meals, and yeah. So it's nice to go over somebody else's house and have them cook. You know, and then in turn the next week or a couple weeks later, you invite somebody else over to your place. So this, just one huge breast, just took up the whole entire... And this is not dry chicken at all. It is just very moist and succulent. On my bird yesterday, I just put a bunch of flavors and everything. Let me see if I have a couple of pieces of dark meat. Here's another piece of white meat. And I'll be right back. Okay, so, oh goodness. My gravy didn't work out so well. I put too much flour. I'm upset, but I'm glad I had a couple cans of chicken gravy on the side. They were fat-free, so I added the fat back in with some oil. I put a whole bunch of seasonings and everything with them, and maybe a little bit of flour to make it thick. It didn't really come to be thick, but I didn't like the way it looked kind of yellow coming out of the can, and I just don't like that. I want to make sure that it's very flavorful and tasty. So I rolled out my biscuits. I didn't cut them yet, but I have to take my gravy and pour it all over the chicken. So that way when I cut my biscuits, I can just put them on there instead of having to transfer them twice. So there we go. And also, when you do this, if you can, save a little gravy for after, because sometimes if the biscuits are really thick, let me just see if that's going to be good enough. My carrots are just about done. Let me just toss that in the gravy a little bit. Oh, that looks so good. All that nice chicken. And also, even if you do mess up the gravy, the chicken that you roasted the night before is still going to have those flavors in them. Okay, so the gravy is really, really good right there. You don't want to do too much because you don't want it to bubble over either. So I think, I'm not sure if these are, I think these are pretty good size. So I'm just gonna start cutting my biscuits. There's a nice little edge on that, and it's kind of thick enough, and also it's gonna rise up right on that. And everything you have in here is already cooked, so what you are trying to do is just cook thoroughly the biscuits. And also, if you have a few extra, which I might have at the end, you'll see. Then you can put them on a pan, pop them in the oven, and have a couple extra biscuits, either for that night for some of the people that you're having dinner with, or yourself, or you can save them for the next morning and have them with maybe some jam or something. The trick is to have really nice, fluffy biscuits, but not too thick, not too thin. Oh man, I have to put a lot of pepper in that gravy. It's kicking back right now. Whew. Oh. Oh, there's a little fire. Fire! I just need 3 more and I'm good. So this might not be exactly my grandma's chicken and biscuits, but it's going to be really delicious and it's going to be really close. So I'm not going to wrap this because it's going to need to rise. So here is beforehand, chicken and biscuits, and I'm going to pop this right in the oven. Okay, so this is the section where I take a break and I let whatever's cooking cook. The carrots are done, the sweet potato is done. I've done it before, I've made it great before, but sometimes people just have bad nights. I've had a bad night as far as the gravy. I'm really mad I lost all that wonderful stock. Very flavorful stock. And I put the biscuits that are extra, there are 6 extra biscuits, so I made 15 biscuits, and no, is that right? Yes. And I'll just put those in the fridge with a tightly saran wrap, and in the morning I'll take them out, pop them in the oven, have some biscuits with jam. I can't wait. I haven't had biscuits and jam in a long time. Maybe make some chamomile tea and just have a really just easy morning. You should try to cut corners as much as you can. Like if you're not doing much the day before, you probably should prepare a lot of food that day, or at least prepare food for the next day, and that way it's not going to be too much work. It's not going to be when you finally sit down to eat, you're too tired to actually lift up your fork. Especially people that are physically challenged like I am. I can't stand for too long and I can't sit for too long. So to do the work the day before, especially to just make a whole chicken and put all that stuff in there, is great. So I checked the chicken and biscuits. The biscuits on top are really nice and golden brown, but I want them to be a little bit more done on the bottom. It's hard because the gravy kind of rises up in the cooking, and it gets to the bottom of the biscuits, and you want to make sure that even though there might be a little very soft from the gravy, you want to make sure that they're not doughy. So, and they just rise very well. They rise very, very well. They're like about, I would say, well, they started out to be about that size, maybe that size. Now they're about a good size like that. So I did a really good job rolling them out, and I'm happy. Happy I have a joy. So can't wait to eat. It's been like 2 hours in the process. Yeah. So make sure during this time, if you're just feeding yourself, you want to plate everything else. You want to plate your carrots or your sides. I'm going to go and plate my carrots and my sweet potato and kind of make sure all that's going well. You want to give yourself a drink and everything. And if you like a good show, you're going to want to set your Netflix up or set your TV up. But if you're doing it for a family, make sure you put everything on the table now. Because within the next 5 minutes between that cooking, everything is not going to cool down. So just put on your gravy, usually we have mashed potatoes, put on your broccoli or your green beans or whatever else you have with it. I didn't say that tonight was going to be a very healthy meal, so I might put a little bit brown sugar. I'm kind of naughty, in the sweet potato because I love that so much. A little bit of that and a little bit of butter. Oh, goodness. So, yes, I didn't get to my weight the way I am by eating healthy choices. And yeah, so I've had a few mishaps in the kitchen today, and I put too much pepper in the gravy. I don't know how I'm going to taste that, if it's going to be a lot. I'm just going to have to go through it and note your mistakes, and if you can make like a little video about your mistakes and what you would do better, either that or write it down on the recipe if you have a recipe for it. Or on a piece of paper and staple it to your recipe or something. Just make a little bit of notes for yourself for the next time so that way you don't have to do the same thing. So I know I'm talking a lot, talking. See you in a minute. Alright, so I'm back. I didn't have time to plate it because as soon as I stopped the video from sitting over and talking, the buzzer went off. This just looks perfectly beautiful. And the thing is, at some point, you have to stop. I mean, it's great to want to make the perfect meal, but things aren't always perfect, as God reminded me a little while ago. And things are going to mess up, and you're going to make mistakes because you're human. So just realize that, and if you happen to make the perfect meal or close to it, then be very proud of yourself, because it is very hard, no matter what you're doing. If you're a beginner, starting out cooking, to advanced, if you've been cooking for years and all that. So yes. So while I'm talking to you and letting these, and you're going to want to let the chicken and biscuits rest for just a minute. Like anything you'd let rest. I'm going to take some of this now, and oh my goodness. And the thing is to, if you can see this over here, to get way down and get all that chicken underneath there, and then put it on your plate. And then take that chicken and put it right back underneath. My goodness, that looks so good. Now, I don't want to get overzealous. I probably will have one more, but also I'll let it stay in the pan so it can stay nice and warm. And there we go. Might need a little bit extra salt. Just a little bit on the sweet potato, because the sweet potato came in its original form. Didn't have anything dressed with it. So you see the biscuit is really nice and brown on the top. It baked evenly on the side, and on the bottom, if I can pick it up, it's just really nice. This is really nice and cooked, and it's soft because of that gravy. It's been sitting right underneath it, bubbling right underneath it. It looks so good. So the only thing is, I'd like my stuff separate, thank you. Put maybe a couple carrots there to break the barrier so it doesn't get into my sweet potato. Alright, so now I'm going to have a taste and we'll see how this goes. I've been praying to the Lord to take some of that pepper out because I put too much in. You know, God can do anything, so let's just see how this is. By the way, I'm going to put more carrots on there. I figured, you know, not so much, it's been so much time. That's really good. I think I like this more baking it and then doctoring it up. Very good. Didn't need all that salt though. A little too much salt. I'm gonna have a carrot next. If you're gonna have a sweet with your meal, then use something else as a savory. Like don't make your carrots and your sweet potatoes sweet. So let me cut into this biscuit. You see from the state where that biscuit was when I first cut it that it got a lot bigger. You can see that biscuit right on there. It just got a lot bigger. And my goodness. You want inside to be nicely done, and the bottom to be soft with that gravy. Reminds me of my grandma. Love you, Grandma. I know you're watching. Sorry I messed up on the gravy. Sometimes the biscuits really rise a lot if you make them thick, and that's why you need that extra gravy. But if you put a lot of gravy in the pan, just soak up some of that gravy and put it right on top from the pan. Because I bet you the gravy that you put on the stove is kind of cool by now. Reminds me of my grandma. Reminds me of my grandma. Thank you, God, for taking some of that heat of that pepper out. Thank you, Jesus. So good. So, overall, guys, I messed up here, messed up there. It's not a perfectly rounded meal. I don't have a green on here. Like I said, I do everything on a budget at the end of the month. I don't have fresh greens in my fridge. Don't have money to go out and get them, so you just use whatever's on hand. So good. So good. I'm gonna go eat now. Thank you for watching. I know this wasn't a perfectly planned and crafted meal. I had a few technical issues, but this is so good. I'm probably going to eat another one tonight, and I have the next few days for leftovers. And then I have the biscuits in there in the oven for tomorrow for breakfast. So, yay! I don't ever, like, really make biscuits, so it's a treat. It really is. Okay, guys. You're probably sick of seeing my mug. So, I'm going to go, and God bless y'all. I hope you liked it, at least. And if you have any questions, please ask me. And, yeah, I'm still working on it, guys. So, not perfect, just me. Love you guys, and hopefully you can see more videos from Kat the Christian Baker coming up soon.